Welcome back to the TYSK report. This is MMC bringing you the things you should know happening in the world of technology. Of course, I have some informative articles on the docket, so let's get to it. Amazon's virtual health clinic can now treat patients for a cough, cold, or flu. Amazon announced today that its virtual healthcare marketplace, Amazon Clinic, can now treat patients for a cough, cold, or flu. Customers can now select the new cough, cold, and flu option from the Find a Treatment list on Amazon Clinic on desktop or mobile. From there, they can look at a list of available telehealth providers and compare pricing and response times. Once users have completed an intake form that details their current symptoms and basic health history, they will be connected to a licensed clinician, either through a secure messaging portal or a video call. The clinician will then provide treatment, which could include a prescription that can be filled by Amazon Pharmacy or another pharmacy. Amazon Clinic launched in November 2022 as a way to connect users with healthcare providers. Amazon Clinic does not provide the healthcare services itself and instead supplies a platform to connect telemedicine partners with users. In August, Amazon announced that the service was available in all 50 states and Washington, D.C. Amazon Clinic can provide care for more than 35 common health concerns, including asthma, eczema, acid reflux, and pink eye. So my take on this is when it comes to the cough, cold, or flu, things that are very small, this will become the standard. You're going to be speaking to somebody either via video call or through some messaging app, talking to them about your symptoms, and that way they could prescribe you with the medicine that you need to fix what's going on. So just be on the lookout for uptake in telehealth, because in a world where things are changing when it comes to healthcare and all these different landscapes, this could be a more cost-effective way of treating people versus them having to see you in person. Let's move on to the next article. Ford is testing drone deliveries at the Derelict train station in Detroit. It's rehabbing. Detroit, Michigan Central Station, the once beautiful but now abandoned train station that Ford is rehabilitating into an innovation and technology hub, is about to be swarmed by drones. The Ford subsidiary that operates the train station, Michigan Central, announced today that it's teaming up with the state's Department of Transportation to test out the use of unmanned aircraft systems or drones to deliver medicine, food, or other small items to nearby residents. According to the article, the ultimate goal is to get approval from the Federal Aviation Administration that allows drone operators to fly further distances and beyond visual sight lines, but it is also to open up a new line of revenue for Ford and its partners in what is projected to be a $50 billion industry by 2030. So more companies are getting into drones. And again, as I spoken about previously in a previous video, we could see a future where you're going to see drones moving above your head as if it's normal, as if you see cars driving around. So this will be a slow and steady pace towards growth, but it is 2023 now. I could definitely see this happening maybe in like 2027, maybe even 2030. Who knows how fast this innovation is going to take off, but just be on the lookout for it. Let's move on to the next article. More than 130 companies, including IKEA, Volvo, ask world leaders to phase out fossil fuels. Interesting. More than 130 companies, including Volvo Cars, IKEA, Unilever, Nestle, and AstraZeneca, signed a letter calling on governments to adopt a global plan to phase out fossil fuels without carbon capture during upcoming international negotiations. And in the letter, it was stated that we have an important role to play, sending a clear signal about our future energy use, which is rapidly becoming cleaner through renewables. Together, the signatories represent close to $1 trillion in global annual revenue from diverse industries, from beer, Heineken, to pharmaceuticals, Bayer, and telecommunications, Vodafone Group. So it's going to be a very slow and steady pace, I believe, that's going to phase out fossil fuels. I don't think it's going to happen all at once. That is the end goal, or to make it cleaner in some sort. But the rise of building the infrastructure for electric vehicles and electrification is happening. But on the other side of that, it's going to take a lot of work. So this is just something to be on the lookout for. This is my take on it. Is it going to happen within like the next 3 to 4 years? Probably not, but you may start to see an uptake on more charging stations or different types of things happening and related to the electrification, EVs, things of that sort. Moving on to the next article. GM and Honda punt on plan to build millions of affordable EVs together. Now, General Motors and longtime partner Honda have ended plans to build millions of affordable and small electric vehicles as the automakers come to terms with high interest rates and battery costs coupled with softening EV demand. The end to the EV partnership comes 18 months after the two companies announced plans to co-develop affordable electric vehicles. The partnership centered around GM's Ultium EV platform and both automakers' robust manufacturing capabilities. Now, the news comes a day after GM announced it would slow its launch of EVs, including backing off the 100,000 EV production target it had for the second half of 2023. While GM and Honda are pulling back on their EV plans, the two companies seem to be doubling down on autonomous vehicles. GM, Cruise, and Honda announced October 18th a plan to launch a robo-taxi service in Japan under a new joint venture. My take on this is I do think that there's so many different things at play. It's hard to really determine what's happening in these different industries, but I can say from my perspective for sure that the EV infrastructure is going to be built out later on down the road. Different companies are putting billions and billions of dollars into it. So if they're doing that, I definitely don't think they're just throwing money at something that they don't think is going to come to fruition. So just something to be mindful of and to be on the lookout for. Moving on to the next article. Tesla's first big supercharger deal is a $100 million sale to BP. BP is buying $100 million of supercharger hardware from Tesla, making it the first company to purchase DC fast charging equipment from the automaker for use in a third-party charging network. The sale is going to the oil and gas conglomerate's EV charging business known as BP Pulse, which plans to invest up to $1 billion in building a nationwide charging network by 2030, including $500 million over the next 2 or 3 years. BP Pulse plans to start installing the new chargers next year at businesses under the BP family brands like Travel Centers of America, Thornton's AMPM, Amoco, its upcoming GigaHub charging sites, and third-party locations like Hertz rental car sites. The first deployment locations on the list will include Houston, Phoenix, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Washington, D.C. BP Pulse has installed more than 27,000 charging stalls in total and says it plans to erect more than 100,000 worldwide by 2030. So, as was mentioned previously, it looks like even these oil companies are getting into the business of building out the EV infrastructure. So I think they're all on one accord, even with these car companies and these gas companies and companies building out the infrastructure. They're all on one accord. They're all moving towards this. So this is what's going to happen. So yeah, moving on to the next article. Waymo driverless vehicles are now available through Uber, starting first in Phoenix. Phoenix area Uber users can now hail a Waymo driverless vehicle. The two companies today announced the launch of the joint service, which was first reported back in May 2023. To use the service, Uber users will need to hail a Uber X, Uber Green, Uber Comfort, or Uber Comfort Electric, and if available, confirm the Waymo vehicle match to the ride. Or users can call a Waymo driver directly using the Waymo One app available to the public in Metro Phoenix, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and soon Austin, Texas. So even though Cruise is having a little bit of difficulty, and Cruise is also a subsidiary of GM, even though they're having difficulty, Waymo looks like it's still moving full head of steam with their autonomous vehicles. So these aren't going away. So like I said, when it comes to those drones above your head that you'll probably see on a normal basis, in the future, you're probably going to see these autonomous vehicles picking people up with no one in the driver's seat. So just something to be mindful of and to be on the lookout for. And last but not least, we have something interesting for your parents or your grandparents or your older aunts and uncles. We have this story right here. New app Wiser Friends helps older adults make friends and arrange carpool. Whether you're an empty nester, divorcee, or a newcomer looking to make friends in a new city, Wiser Friends wants to be the go-to activity-based friendship app for adults 40 years old and up to connect with like-minded individuals, attend social events, arrange carpools, and try new things. So if your parents or your grandparents or those older individuals in your life say they don't have anything to do, just point them towards this app and they could start meeting some people and having some new experiences. So this is a great day of informative technology news. And this type of stuff is going to affect the world and including you later on down the road. So it's important for you to know these things and stay up to date on them. And in addition to that, here are two videos right here where I give you more information on the things you should know happening in the world of technology.